Why is life so difficult? Why does this always happen to me? Why can I not catch a break? Why are people so terrible? Why can't things be easier? Why is everything against me? Why am I always so broke and struggling? Why is it just one damn thing after another? Why is it like this? Everywhere I turn right now, women I know, maybe not every single last one, but many of them are struggling and they're afraid, at least quite worried. All the women I know are having some kind of pretty serious problem. And I hear all the time, why is life so difficult? I believe any patriarchal system follows a set of 4 inevitable cycles. Of the 4 cycles, experts say we are right now about halfway through the last of the 4, which is called crisis. And this is a very stressful, to say the least, time of difficulty and dissolution, where institutions we have come to trust, like banking and that sort of thing, systems that have worked pretty much, more or less, at least for men, now are breaking down and not working the way they always have, breaking down pretty much completely. When the 4th cycle, each cycle lasts about 25 years, when the 4th cycle is complete, when everything has really gone to hell in a handbasket, that is when a new cycle of 25 years starts, with a spirit of optimism and the feeling of let's rebuild something fresh and new. And so this is why things are so difficult at the moment. It's part of an inevitable set of cycles that we are all forced to go through in a patriarchal culture. Matriarchal cultures are not like this. They don't have these same cycles. That's for another video. My belief is, even so, we still chose to be here. We chose to come to Mother Earth, to live in this body. We accepted the mission to live in this patriarchal culture and to bring to it, in the spirit of creativity, bring to it what goodness we women could, no matter the struggles. We knew it would be challenging, and yet still we came. We agreed to hold for humanity what I and many other women call the red thread of wisdom. So here we women are. Most say this earth plane is a school. And I always felt like that was really tiresome, always having to learn something new. But the worst part, I liked the learning part when I was in school, but the worst part was being tested all the time, always having to prove your worth. It was very stressful for me. As my dad used to say, nuts to that. So while we do, of course, learn while we're here, I believe a more helpful analogy or comparison is an art studio. I believe this earth plane is primarily intended to be a joyful experience of creativity for us as souls in the body of women, to express our power of creation. So less of a school and more of an art studio, which seems a lot more joyful and fun to me. This is what God, or as I prefer to call Source, Goddess, this is what God is, the creative power of the universe. Humanity is Goddess expressing herself through 8 billion points of focus. Each point, and I'm not even including the animals, let's just separate them out, but they are points of focus too. But each point being one of us as an individual, that is God. That is the power of creativity, of manifesting, of bringing something new and good to this evolution, all happening now in what we could look at as this grand co-creation of the universe. Well, it's probably the multiverse, but let's stick with what we know. There is, I think we would all agree, great joy in expressing our personal power for what you could call life-affirming good. This is our goddess power. It's what we came here to do. And you know how good you feel when you have creatively solved some ridiculously difficult challenge in your life. You feel powerful. You feel like Superwoman. You feel triumphant. And so you are. So you are. And what setting gives us this opportunity for creation? Well, I am sorry to say that the setting that gives us the most opportunity for amazing new creation is one where there are a lot of problems to be solved. That's what this realm, this physical material life, is made up of. One damn problem after another. You have come to an environment where, to help nudge you to explore your vast creative goddess powers, you are automatically presented with a series of problems, unending problems. You solve that one, and then another one crops up. It is the way it is. Nothing stops this. Nothing prevents this. Not money, not experience, not training, not credentials, not hard work, not being a good person, not youth, not age, not a near-death experience, not fame, not love, not meditation, not right action, not right thinking. Nothing stops. When you live in the physical body, nothing stops the next problem from showing up on your doorstep. Now, things like money or love make us feel better, and they too do not stop the problem. They just change the type of problem that you will have to face in the next now moment. Problems are a feature of this realm, not a bug. Nothing is really going wrong, as much as it seems challenging to believe that. When you have a problem, it's part of the design of this plane of existence. This is the setting that gives you the maximum opportunity to remember that you are goddess. You have the power of goddess because you are goddess. If you had no problems here, you would have no opportunity to express your creative goddess power. If everything was automatically provided to you, you might simply, well, I think I would just sort of laze around watching good movies on Netflix, eating bonbons, whatever those are, petting my purring cat, going on maybe endless vacations and buying some new stuff. I don't know. But as fun as all that might be, for a while, eventually we would tire of all of it. You'd never be challenged. You'd never stretch. At some point, my mom used to have a phrase, you'd blob out. Well, I don't think you were meant for blobbiness. You are not a blob. You are goddess. You solve the problem of survival, of getting a roof over your head and enough food to eat, and then you are faced with the next problem and the next and the next, an endless stream of other problems every day. Every day something happens, a problem that you have to solve to keep going, to keep creating the life you want, to continue manifesting beauty, to bring about good conditions for yourself. And it's actually supposed to be fun, like solving a puzzle. In fact, the word problem comes from the same root as the word riddle. It's supposed to be fun, like a game is fun, where there is, yes, a little bit of pressure to, make things have a little bit of tension. And yes, where there are a few rules, otherwise there'd be no game to play. Games require rules, or there is no game. When playing a game that you have chosen to play, let's assume that you did choose to play this game, you don't feel resistance. You're having fun, you flow with the game, you enjoy yourself and the others playing the game with you. You might not win every time, but you're still having a good time playing your best because you are not resisting the situation. Problems are nothing more than opportunities for us to express our creativity and our power in this realm. Yet, even though we choose to come here, we choose to come to this realm where there is nothing but one problem after another to be solved, and we know it, still, when we get here, we complain. We complain by asking the same questions over and over again in different forms, often in considerable anguish. Why is life so difficult? Why does this always happen to me? Why can I not catch a break? Why are people so terrible? Why can't things be easier? Why is everything against me? Why am I always so broke and struggling? Why is it just one damn thing after another? Why is it like this? Asking these questions shows us that we are unwittingly resisting the opportunities we call problems. We see the problems as something that somehow should not be happening. And this is resistance. And complaining is the number one form of resistance for most of us. All resistance creates much more difficulty because resistance is a form of force, and in the physical world, all force creates counterforce. That's just the way it is. It is the law of the material world. Force creates counterforce. Your irritation at the next problem that you are facing impedes your flow of divine power. It blocks your creative problem-solving ability. It slows your capability to manifest like Goddess does. So think about this, perhaps if you're willing. You are not like Goddess when you are creative or when you manifest something good. You are Goddess. You are a focused point of creative, conscious power operating as the one there is only one of, Source. You are not using Source or God or Goddess power. You are Source. This is the click of the mind, my old teacher Stuart Wilde used to say. And the click of the mind is the instantaneous switch in perspective that we need to step into that full divine power. If you refuse to accept this truth, you will always keep yourself at a distance, one step removed from your true full power to manifest and solve problems in this realm. Believing in Goddess is helpful. Believing as Goddess changes everything. Do not call upon Goddess, just be Goddess. And let us stop asking the entirely wrong questions, questions that harm us and our futures, because the wrong questions spark even more resistance, even more slowing of your divine power. Your brain is to your life like an electrical transformer is to the power source. The human brain is literally an electrical system. It communicates by sending and receiving tiny electrical impulses that transmit information throughout your entire nervous system. A transformer on our electrical grid in this physical world takes in extremely high voltage energy that is sent from the source, that's the power plant, the coal plant, the nuclear facility, the hydroelectric dam, whatever the source is. Energy that is way too strong to be used directly. The transformer then converts or steps down the power into a more usable, gentler current that can safely power homes and machines and lights. In a similar way, the human brain functions as a kind of spiritual transformer. The full force of the divine, or goddess, if you like, is like the immense energy of the source power plant. It is far, far too intense and infinite to be absorbed by most single humans all at once. Now, there are exceptions. There are people in this world who have been able to absorb a great deal more than, say, I can. People like Tesla or Ramanujan, those sorts of people. But for us regular people, the brain receives this greater current of consciousness and steps it down into thoughts, sensations, and actions that the human system can handle. Just as the transformer allows electricity to flow safely into every appliance, the brain allows the radiance of the divine coming in to flow safely into our awareness and our human lives. So substances like ayahuasca or mushrooms and the like can temporarily reduce your resistance, but only temporarily. And we cannot live in that state of consciousness, so open to everything, and still function here in our normal lives. And if you've ever taken ayahuasca in a proper setting with a clear intention, with knowledgeable indigenous support, you can see how much more vast the universe is from what we experience daily after having it be stepped down for us. So I thank the divine in her wisdom for this stepping down power of our brain. What I experienced with Stuart in my 8 ayahuasca journeys in the mountains of Ecuador is not as valuable as it was, as much as it changed me. I could not live that way in that consciousness every day and still do the things that I feel I need to do. So even though this stepping down process is necessary, you must not introduce additional resistance into the system. In a physical electrical system, resistance is what limits the flow of current coming through you. Resistance can be caused by using improper or impure materials, or having too long a length of wire between the source, the power plant, the transformer, and then the item to be powered. That's too long a length of wire. That causes resistance too. So the more resistance, the less energy can pass through the system. In the same way, we women can create our own spiritual resistance. Impurities in your thought, fear and doubt, rigidity, ego, these can create resistance. Another thing that creates resistance is just like the too long wire. Resistance is created by simply being too far removed in your heart from source, too long a wire between you and source. And that is why a daily practice of divine connection is so important for you to remember that you are goddess every single day in various ways. Whatever the cause, resistance slows or blocks the smooth flow of divine energy through you have a complex mind, heart, body, and spirit, all woven together. And resistance will slow or block the divine energy going through your mind, heart, body, spirit complex in your experience here on Earth. Just as too much electrical resistance causes inefficiency in a circuit, your own inner resistance creates strain, fatigue, confusion, numbness. That's when your wire is too long, when you're too far removed from your awareness of yourself as a focus point of source. When resistance is lowered, though, when you can reduce your resistance, when you can lower it through a sense of openness, surrender, trust, alignment, and most importantly, recognizing your oneness with all that is, the current of the divine flows more freely and efficiently powers your life, if you will. So your brilliant brain is built beautifully to attempt to answer any question that you put to it. Your brain is your servant. It does not care what the question is. It will always do its best to give you a reasonable answer that makes sense, a reasonable answer to every question you ask. That's what your brain thinks you want. Rhetorical doesn't mean anything to the brain. In good faith, it receives your questions and spits back at you the answers it thinks are possible. When you ask questions like, why is life so difficult? It does not know you are asking rhetorically. Your brain is quite literal. It will very obligingly provide you with all the possible answers to whatever you ask. So you ask, why is life so difficult? And your brain, casting about for the possible answers to this question, answers you with, because people are shit. Because you were bad in a previous life, because you're unlucky, you're unworthy, you're stupid, because the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, because people are just out to get you, because you weren't born with a silver spoon in your mouth, because climate change, because toxins in the food, because pharmaceuticals in the oceans, because you just can't count on anything in life, or because men just fuck up everything. On and on. Every question you ask, the brain will absolutely answer, and your human life will proceed in that direction with that answer, even to utter disaster. And that is why things spiral into suffering. That is why everything does go to hell in a handbasket. This is why so many decline with age. We must ask our brains, our transformer of divine energy, we must ask the right questions of our brain. Whenever you think, why is life so difficult? Immediately flip that to what my dear friend and colleague Vajramal calls a golden question. Why is my life so easy and graceful? And throughout the day, ask yourself questions, golden questions that lift your heart, that bring you to a spiritual space of divine flow, questions that reduce resistance in your heart, and the answers to which will bring you goodness and many magical synchronicities. Questions like, why is my life so easy and graceful? Why do I immediately see the answer to every problem? Why do challenges melt away from me, easing my path? Why is everyone so available to help me at every moment? Why does my computer fix itself magically so easily? Why am I always so healthy and strong and filled with a sense of well-being? Why is everyone so very kind to me? Why am I always so lucky? Why does money magically come to me in unexpected ways each month? Why is life so continually beautiful for me? Ask the right questions, and your brain will seek to provide you with the right answers. And in doing so, it will put you on a totally different energetic path for your life. And furthermore, your brain will seek new ways to make those answers come true in your experience. So give your brain a proper job. Ask the golden questions. Whatever the next problem is for you, see if you can face it, not with irritation or complaint or disgruntlement, not with resistance, but with the spirit of maybe curiosity, as if you're playing a game. How's this going to come out? I have the power to solve this problem, this challenge. This is a feature, not a bug. This is what's supposed to happen. I am having a new opportunity to solve a problem. See if you can maintain your joy in the face of dealing with the problem. See if you can maintain your confidence that, yeah, you can sort this out, this next riddle out, just like you have all the other ones in the past. And I acknowledge that some terrible problems are much more difficult to face than others. I acknowledge that, of course. Of course. You must do your best with whatever you face in your life. But always remember, no matter what is happening, you are a magical woman. You are Goddess. Blessed be.